Have you ever stopped to wonder why, even when you work your fingers to the bone, even when you pray, even when you do everything right, your prosperity seems to be blocked by an invisible force? Why does money come in only to vanish without explanation? Why do doors that should be wide open slam shut right in your face at the very last second? It's not a coincidence. It's not a lack of effort. It's not karma. It's not fate. And it's not bad luck. It is a sign. And you have exactly 15 minutes from this moment to understand this sign, because what is being decided at this very instant in the spiritual realm will determine whether your prosperity will finally be released or if it will continue to be drained for years on end. I know this sounds heavy. I know you might have clicked on this video out of curiosity, perhaps intuition, or maybe because something deep inside you pushed your finger here. But listen to one thing, and listen closely. You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. There is a synchronicity in God's universe that places every chosen person in the exact right spot at the precise moment they need to hear the truth. And the truth is that the next 15 minutes of your life can rewrite the next 15 years of your financial history, your spiritual history, and your history as a human being. Because what I am about to reveal to you now is something that spiritual entities, ancient ministers, forgotten mystics, and even some modern prophets have been trying to pass down for centuries, and it is systematically silenced, muffled, and ridiculed precisely to keep you trapped in the wheel of scarcity. There is a very specific reason why some people's prosperity seems blocked, as if there were an invisible wall between them and abundance. And that reason isn't in your bank account. It's not in your job. It's not in the national economy. It lies in layers that most people cannot see, but which you, as a chosen one, have been designated to finally comprehend. Think about it. Have you noticed how certain people, without apparent effort, prosper with impressive ease? And how others, perhaps yourself, even while putting in triple the effort, can barely keep their heads above water financially? This is not a lack of merit. This is not divine injustice. This is a game of frequencies, of spiritual seals, of invisible inheritances passed down from generation to generation that no one ever taught you how to break. When God marks someone as a chosen one, that person automatically becomes a target for forces that want to prevent the fulfillment of their mission. And one of the first things these forces attack is precisely prosperity, because a prosperous chosen one is a chosen one who has the resources to fulfill their divine purpose on earth. Therefore, attacking your finances is a strategy. It is not a punishment. It is war. And you are in this war even though you weren't warned. That is exactly why I prepared a powerful digital book for you, the Manual for God's Chosen to Protect the Family. This digital book is not just a reading. It is a specific map of what is happening to your prosperity, your money, and the abundance that should be flowing into your home, but is being diverted by forces no one taught you how to identify. This digital book shows who is playing against your financial life, what the invisible rules of this game are, and what entities from other dimensions have already revealed about the exact reason why the chosen suffer such heavy attacks in the area of prosperity. This digital book was created for those who have awakened enough to know that scarcity is not normal. It is not God's will, and it is not destiny. It is a web spun specifically to stop you from fulfilling your mission. The link is pinned at the top of the comments. But I must warn you, this type of content rarely stays available for long. What is in these pages challenges narratives that many have an interest in keeping intact, because a chosen one who understands how their prosperity is being stolen becomes a chosen one who is impossible to control. There have already been real attempts to silence this knowledge before. Don't wait for the right moment. Chosen one. The right moment is now, because you didn't come to this video by chance, and the 15 minutes of the sign are already ticking away. Download it now and comment below this video. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. This simple act of courage already moves the spiritual plane in your favor. Now that you've decided to act, pay very close attention to what I'm going to reveal next, because this is where the final blow against this financial oppression begins to be drawn. The 15 minutes are not a metaphor. There is a real spiritual window, a crack in time where decisions made with faith and clarity generate immediate effects in the material plane. And when God sends a sign of prosperity, that sign comes with a short window, because the enemy of your journey does not sleep. And he works fast to close any door that opens in your direction. You've been through this, haven't you? That feeling that an opportunity was coming, you felt it in your chest. You even started to get excited. And suddenly, for no apparent reason, everything fell apart. That wasn't a fluke. That was spiritual sabotage. And most people lose 90% of the opportunities God sends simply because they don't recognize the sign in time. The 15 minutes serve this purpose, to wake you up before the window closes. The signs God sends for prosperity come in very specific ways, and few know how to recognize them. Recurring dreams of flowing water, rain falling inside the house, a harvest being gathered, a bountiful table, or familiar people handing you objects. Seemingly casual encounters with people who mention money, opportunities, or business without you even bringing it up. Sudden thoughts about old projects you had abandoned, an inexplicable urge to pick up a forgotten skill, vivid memories of something your grandmother or grandfather used to say about prosperity. All of this is God getting your attention. All of this is a sign, and when you ignore it, even unintentionally, even out of disbelief, even by being too busy with daily worries, the window closes, and you stay trapped for another full cycle of scarcity. That is why I tell you with all firmness, time matters. The 15 minutes matter. The awareness you are building right now, reading every word of this script, is part of the spiritual preparation so you don't miss the next sign God sends. But there's more. There is a deeper layer that no one tells you about. Most of the chosen are not just losing prosperity, they are being drained. There is a massive difference between lacking prosperity and having your prosperity diverted. In the first case, there is a shortage. In the second case, there is plenty, but for others. Your energy, your work, your devotion, your gifts are producing fruit, yes, but the fruit is being harvested by invisible hands before it even reaches you. This happens through inherited spiritual seals, through directed envy, through words spoken over you in childhood, through promises made by ancestors you never even met. All of this forms a web that needs to be cut. And you don't cut it with brute force. You don't cut it with more hard work. You don't cut it with more suffering. You cut it with applied spiritual knowledge. And that is exactly why this digital book, the manual for God's chosen to protect the family, was placed in your path today. This digital book doesn't talk about prosperity the way motivational books do. There are no magic mantras, no empty formulas. This digital book reveals the specific spiritual rules that govern the flow of prosperity in a chosen one's life and shows how to cut the invisible seals that have been draining your money, your energy, and your peace for years without you noticing. This digital book shows you exactly who is playing against your prosperity, at what times of day these attacks are most intense, and what specific prayers, postures, and attitudes shield your home against this invisible drainage. This digital book was written for those who are tired of trying to prosper by the world's methods and are ready to access the knowledge that higher entities have tried to pass down for centuries. The link remains pinned at the top of the comments, Chosen One. But I have to be honest with you, this type of content, which touches the structures sustaining the scarcity of millions of people, suffers constant pressure to be removed. There have been attempts to silence this knowledge. Channels have been taken down. Material has been deleted. You are seeing this now because there is an open window, but I cannot guarantee how long it will stay open. Don't wait for the ideal moment. The ideal moment is exactly this one within the 15 minutes of the sign. Because you were guided here by a synchronicity that few understand. Comment now below this video. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. This comment is more than words. It is a spiritual decree. It is you publicly positioning yourself on the side of your own prosperity. Now that your position has been taken, pay attention to what comes next, because this is the part that truly changes the game. There is a spiritual structure called by some ancient mystics the scarcity chain. It is like a chain with invisible links that binds a person to a certain pattern of financial and emotional life. Each link in this chain represents a door that was opened in the past, sometimes by the person themselves, sometimes by ancestors, sometimes by words spoken in moments of anger, sometimes by envy received without protection. And the problem is, that while these doors remain open, any prosperity that enters your life leaks out through those very same doors. That is why so many chosen ones prosper, and then out of nowhere lose everything. That is why unexpected money arrives and vanishes in the same month with unforeseen expenses. That is why brilliant opportunities present inexplicable technical failures right at the moment of closing. The doors are open, and no one can close them for you except yourself with the right knowledge. The first door that needs to be identified is the door of the Word. Have you ever stopped to think how many times in your life someone has spoken phrases over you like, "It's never going to work," "It's hard to make money," "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "No one in our family ever got rich"? Each of these phrases, especially when coming from figures of emotional authority, plants a seed of scarcity that grows within your vibrational frequency. And that seed, over time, becomes an entire tree. Your financial decisions begin to orbit around that tree without you even realizing it. You attract contexts compatible with what was spoken about you. Not because positive thinking is a miracle, but because words carry vibration, and vibration attracts a correspondence in the material world. The second door is the door of unnoticed envy. People close to you who smile to your face but feel relief when you stumble. I'm not talking about declared enemies. I'm talking about people in your daily life, people you love, people you help, who still, due to their own internal issues, emit a subtle frequency of blockage against you. You feel it. You feel it when you come home after a family lunch and you're exhausted for no reason. You feel it when you post an achievement on social media, and in the following weeks, problems start arising that you didn't see coming. It's not paranoia, it's spiritual reading. The third door, perhaps the most important, is the door of ancient pacts. Your ancestors, at some point in your family history, made spiritual agreements for protection out of desperation or through misdirected love, and these agreements are still active, demanding a price from generations who don't even know they exist. This is why there are people who do everything right in this life. They are honest, hard-working, charitable, and yet they live trapped in cycles of scarcity that have no visible origin. The origin is behind them, and until it is cut, it collects its due. The 15 minutes of the sign are almost halfway through, and you need to understand that what we are doing here together is exactly the work of identifying these doors so they can be closed. But identification is only the beginning. The next stage, the stage of closing these doors, requires specific instruction, spiritual protocol, and knowledge that doesn't fit into a single video. And that is where the material prepared for you comes in. This digital book, the Manual for God's Chosen to Protect the Family, is exactly the step-by-step protocol for closing these doors. This digital book shows you how to identify which doors are active in your life, specifically regarding prosperity, which words need to be broken, which envies need to be returned, which ancient pacts need to be severed, and how to do all of this under God's protection without exposing yourself to spiritual risks. This digital book is not a book of pretty philosophy. It is a field manual. It's as if someone took all the knowledge the chosen need to shield their prosperity and organized it into clear, direct chapters, applicable the very same day you finish reading. And more, this digital book brings revelations about how your entire family is affected when you unlock your own prosperity. Because a chosen one who frees themselves financially pulls up the frequency of their children, their parents, their siblings, and the generations to come. You aren't doing this just for yourself. You are doing it for an entire lineage. The link is pinned at the top of the comments. And I warn you again, because I am bound by the spiritual responsibility of this work. There have already been attempts to take down this material because it touches the structures that sustain the system of scarcity for millions. Profiles have been silenced, content has been deleted, and campaigns have been launched to delegitimize this kind of knowledge. Don't leave it for later, chosen one. The 15 minutes don't come back. Comment now. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. This comment is your spiritual positioning. It is your yes before God. It is your break from the cycle of scarcity. Download the digital book now before this window closes. Now that your yes has been declared, let's move to the final part, which is the densest, heaviest, and most transformative part of this script. Because everything I've told you so far is preparation. What comes now is direct revelation. There is a very specific reason why you, chosen one, have been attacked so heavily in your prosperity lately. And that reason is that we are living through a transition. It's not the end of the world. It's not a Hollywood apocalypse. It is a spiritual era shift, a reconfiguration of how energies are distributed in the material plane, a reorganization of who will have the resources to fulfill missions in the coming years. And in this shift, the chosen are being tested like never before. Because a chosen one who passes through this transition with their prosperity released becomes a powerful instrument of transformation in the world. And the opposite side knows this. That is why the attacks have intensified. That is why there's an increase in arguments at home, insomnia, anxiety, and the feeling of being blocked in every area. That is why there's that growing feeling that something is about to change, for better or for worse, but something will change. You feel it, don't you? That restlessness that won't leave you in peace, that internal urgency that makes you look for answers in places you never would have looked before. That desire to fix your life now, not next year, not 5 years from now, but right now. That is your spirit recognizing the urgency of the transition. That is God calling you to level up before the window closes. The 15 minutes of the sign are a symbolic condensation of this larger process. In 15 minutes, the universe offers you a clear choice: stay where you are or position yourself to prosper. And the choice isn't made with thought alone. It is made with decree, with action, with practical positioning. That is why you feel this discomfort now reading these words. It is your spirit asking for passage. It is your entire lineage rooting for you to take the step. It is God placing before you the opportunity to cut the cycle. There is a pattern among the chosen who finally prosper, and that pattern has 3 pillars. The first is recognition. Recognizing that there is indeed a spiritual war surrounding your prosperity, and that ignoring this war doesn't take you out of it. It only robs you of the advantage of awareness. The second pillar is knowledge. Knowing the rules of this game, knowing the doors, identifying the attacks, and mastering the protection protocols. The third pillar is action. Applying knowledge in practice, closing the doors, cutting the seals, shielding the house, protecting the family, and decreeing prosperity with authority. All 3 pillars must be standing. If one is missing, the structure falls, and that is precisely why so many well-intentioned chosen ones remain trapped, because they have recognition but no knowledge, or they have knowledge but no action, or they have action but no spiritual direction, and they end up exhausting themselves without fruit. What I brought you today is the possibility of raising all 3 pillars at the same time. Recognition came with this video, with every word you've read so far. Structured knowledge comes with the material pinned in the comments. And action. Action depends on your decision in the next few minutes. Can you feel the importance of this moment? Can you feel the weight of standing before a door that opens for the chosen and closes for the spiritually lazy? I'm not calling you lazy. I'm warning you that the divide between those who prosper and those who stay trapped in scarcity is not God's merit. It is the chosen one's decision. God offers, you decide. And the offer has a deadline. That is why the 15 minutes exist. That is why the window exists. That is why the urgent sign brought you here. There is one last layer I need to share with you before closing this script. When a chosen one finally breaks the seals of scarcity, the effect is not gradual as many imagine. The effect is a cascade. First, a small unexpected income. Then an opportunity that seemed lost returns without explanation. Then a proposal arises out of nowhere. Then a chance encounter with someone who opens an important door. Then relief from a debt that seemed unpayable. And in a few months, what seemed blocked forever begins to flow naturally. It's not magic. It's not a coincidence. It is the spiritual unlocking producing an effect in the material plane. But this only happens for those who act, for those who stay still, waiting for prosperity to fall from the sky without moving themselves. Nothing changes. God operates alongside faith in action, never with static faith. And faith in action is demonstrated through concrete decisions, such as the decision to acquire knowledge that will equip you for this new phase. Therefore, the material I prepared is not a luxury. It is not an extra. It is not optional for those living through this transition. It is spiritual infrastructure. This digital book, the manual for God's chosen to protect the family, is the equipment that will sustain you in the coming months of this turnaround. This digital book contains the complete protocol for you to cross this transition with your prosperity, not just protected but multiplied. This digital book answers the questions you've asked 1,000 times in silence. Why is there always a shortage? Why does my family repeat the same financial patterns? Why do people close to me seem to prosper more when they are far from me? Why do opportunities flee at the exact moment? This digital book is the specific map for closing the doors, breaking the seals, and shielding the house against envy, ancient pacts, spoken words, and all the invisible structures that have been robbing you for years. The link is pinned at the top of the comments, Chosen One. And I tell you for the last time in this video, this material could go offline at any moment. This type of content challenges narratives that many have an interest in keeping intact. They tried to silence it before, they might try again. The window is open now. The 15 minutes of the sign are ending. You were guided to this video by a synchronicity that has no rational explanation. You felt every word resonate inside your chest because your spirit recognizes the truth when it finds it. Comment now below this video. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. Not for me, for you. This comment is your spiritual decree. It is your positioning before God. It is your conscious yes in the face of the prosperity that is being released. Download the digital book now. Read it in the coming days, apply it in the same month, and prepare to see the effects arrive in a cascade. Because you didn't come to this video by accident, you were chosen. And the chosen who act within the open window enter a new phase of life that the stagnant chosen never know. The choice is yours. The time is now. May God bless every cent that enters your life from today on. May every door be closed where necessary and opened where there is a promise. And may your entire family be shielded and elevated along with you. You are chosen. Act like the chosen. And I will see you on the other side of prosperity.